Okay, team, we're live now.
Super. So, welcome aboard, everybody, on this discussion on ownership. And before I think we get into the discussion, I just want to wish all of us a very happy anniversary because today is exactly the day when we, became Encora officially. So, congratulations to all of you and happy birthday to us.
Woo!
So I'm I am Nupur and I work as a VP Digital Learning and Experience in our Pune lab in India. Roberto?
Hi, guys. I'm Roberto Martinez from Mexico. I live in California, by the way, and I'm president of the business unit in Mexico. Very happy to to meet you all, and happy to share with the rest of the company, what the ownership value means to us. Um, Today is the anniversary, is when we actually launched the new name Encora and the values and all the stuff to get all together into one identity. And I'm very happy to just to share the stories and everything. Um, so thank you all. I'll pass the baton to Shirley. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. It's my pleasure. Hi, everyone. My name is Shirley, and I'm here currently in the Philippines. So, from Manila, Philippines, and Cora. I'm proud to become an Encorian, and I've been with them just recently, very very recent. I joined Encora Manila or Philippines rather last June. So basically, I'm turning 2 months old in this company, and I'm looking forward to be this company could be my last employer. I think that will be all for now. So I want to know more about who wants to go next. Shubra.
Thank you, Shirley. Hi, everyone. I am Shubhra, and I work with the Pune Instructional Designer team. And I've been with Encora for the last nearly 5 years. And I work with an awesome team, and I'm very happy to be here in the panel today. Maybe Rick could go next.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rick Chohan uh, from New Jersey. I'm the cloud engineering manager, and happy anniversary to everyone. And excited to share our experience of ownership with you all. Juan, would you like to go next?
Yes, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Juan Carlos Porras. I'm here from San Jose, Costa Rica. I'm currently a senior quality assurance engineer here within Encora. I lead a couple of our global initiatives in terms of quality assurance. Happy to be here. Happy anniversary to everyone. I'm really excited to share the floor with all my panelists. Looking forward to the conversations we're about to have. I'll throw it to Misael next to introduce himself.
Hi everybody, this is Misael from Mexico. I work as a product manager. I've been in the company for 7 years now. Actually, on 15th of August, this is my 7th year here. I work as a product in the product development area for clients, and I remember this time, actually this day a year ago, we were running in circles trying to launch the site with the pool of the end here in Costa Rica. So it was a very nice experience. Like a taste of what was coming, this global collaboration, and really happy to be here 1 year after. Thank you. So who's next? Alfonso, maybe you can go next.
Hey, hello. My name is Alfonso. I work in Mexico City. I have been happily working in Encora for around a little bit more than 5 years. And I work as a software engineer. I also work as a mentor for internal communications and for the Academy program for interns. And well, it's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Thank you, Alfonso. Nupur, how do we start, talking about why we're talking, celebrating our anniversary, talking about our values?
Yeah. So I think we can just a little bit explore that why are we all here today and what is the goal of this session. So just to kind of set the tone and Roberto said we'll try and share stories which kind of illustrate, the ownership that we showed in particular work situation. And the idea is like, we want to kind of explore and kind of identify, the behaviors that we demonstrate in our day-to-day work which align with our values, so that we can build a culture which is around our values as a global team. And I think what better way to do that than on our anniversary, and kind of just thinking about the incidents which illustrated these values. So if you guys are ready to share your stories, then perhaps we can start. How about Michelle, you start?
Right. So yes, thinking about ownership, I remember the first time that we engaged with my current project that I'm working on with a team of 12 people now. So I remember back in the day, they approached to us with this very high level idea on what they wanted to build. And we said, yes, of course we can do it. We can start. But the main pain point was that they wanted to build everything. So we took this ownership approach of, we're going to make this good, and we're going to drive the client to actually go step by step on what they wanted to build. So we took them by the hand and explained them exactly what we wanted to do with them. And I remember this funny story when they approached to us and we were actually going to start on Monday. We said, how do we start? I mean, what are we going to start developing first? And we said, we don't know. We need to sit together. And I believe this sense of ownership in which you actually take what's going to be yours and what's going to be your next months or your next year, and actually assimilating it as a way of living. I mean, we are doing everything we can for the project, and it's been doing so good now. And I was thinking last night, actually, what does it mean to have this sense of ownership? But I realized that maybe what I can share, and if it's of any value to the rest of the audience, is how to get there to this actually sense of ownership. And I thought of 3 concepts, if you allow me to explain. The first one is reputation. Actually, I was thinking that if my name is going to be embedded in any project, any team, any effort, I want this project to succeed. So I'm going to do all the best I can because my name is going to be on it. This is like the selfish one, the self-centered interest that I have on the projects that I'm working on. But it doesn't end here, because you still need to like push your team members to actually acknowledge this sense of ownership too. So everybody understand exactly what their role is and the impact they're going to have on the project. So back to this product that I'm working on right now, this development, everybody, and I'm really proud of my team. I know they are listening because they keep sending me messages on WhatsApp. That everybody knows exactly what to do. The QA team, backend team, front-end team, they understand the impact. And this is what I call sort of like collective intelligence, that everybody is on this perfect state of ownership and in which they know the impact of what they are doing. And I think the third point that I would like to share is the sense of meaning that we find in the work that we do. This is very abstract and it doesn't come easy. Is when you understand exactly that the work that you're doing is actually going to impact people, real users, real people. This is obvious, right? But not all the time you assimilate this with your whole like cognition or your mind or your heart. Like we are actually impacting people's lives with the work that we do, with the Jira ticket that I work, or the code that the front-end team is working on, or the QA, the tests that they run. So this actually end up impacting the people, the lives of people. Obviously the client is happy, but that's like more like a collateral effect of actually assimilating the meaning of what we're doing. I hope this makes sense. This is what I wanted to share. So thank you.
Thank you, Michael. And what do you think about the team that is working with you that you just mentioned, that ownership, how they live ownership?
Right.
And if you can share a little bit on that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are trying to do this recurrent cadence of releases. So nobody's telling us exactly what to do or how to do it. The team as a whole is deciding what's the best approach. We don't have anybody telling us exactly what to do. This is like the arrangement that we did with the client. So every time we do this release, everybody defines the process, and we are continuously improving this process. And this is what I like about my team, and kudos to you, team, if you're listening, which is nobody is actually after you explaining exactly what to do. I believe this comes from your sense of ownership that you take when you're working on any piece that you have. And I'm talking about stories of late at night, just because we are still struggling with one particular issue, and nobody's actually like asking us to stay. It's because we define that the best time to do this release is at night for any reason. But I think this talks about the commitment that the team has. So when they see that something is not working, they promptly ask to regroup and redefine the process so we can do better. So retrospectives, I know you're familiar with this meeting, is actually very useful, but that's not the only moment in which we provide feedback to us.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. And I want to take the opportunity to say hi to the people that are connected, watching live, and all the good vibes that are sending through the chat. We have people from Mexico, Bolivia, Brazil, India, Dominican Republic, the U.S., and I'm sure many other places. Thank you all for watching, and I hope that you can relate to the stories that the team is sharing. Who wants to go next?
I can go next. There's something that Michelle mentioned that actually really resonated with me. He mentioned and he described how we tend to focus on things we do and we make it our own. I think that overall, we all know what it is we do within Ancora. We all know what our responsibilities are. But more often than not, and I think I speak for all of us, both panelists and everyone watching us across the globe, we always tend to go the extra mile. I think that for me, most of the scenarios I tend to reflect within the term of ownership. It means initiative, it means commitment, it means jumping into the deep end of the pool when you're taking something that you might not be 100% confident in. You might face a situation, I know I have plenty of times, where I'm taking responsibility of something that I might not see right away how I'm going to fix it, how I'm going to solve these problems, but it just means taking charge and assuming responsibilities. Within my specific department of Ancora, there's a couple of services that we've launched, and there's a lot of initiatives that I'm currently leading. I'm actually the key person within the development and the execution of these life cycles. But these are processes that no one really delegated to me. This is not something that someone came up to me and told me, hey, Juan Carlos, we want to launch this, we need your help. I don't think this is the situation. I think this overall meant that one way or another, I was called, I was given the opportunity to lead different scenarios, and it was just up to me on how to deal with them, how to explore them. And I think that this is something very, very particular within Cora. We're given the opportunity, we're given the availability, and overall, it just means that as much as we want to put into the company, as much as we want to, like I said, go the extra mile, it's always up to us.
Perfect. Sugar, Charlie, do you wanna tell your story?
Yes, Roberto. I also would like to share my story, a true story here at Ancora. So this is like around 2 years back. I was working on one of the projects, and I actually jumped into the project in the middle of the process because we were having a tough time with the client, and it was one of the clients. It was difficult to please them. So what I realized is when I started interacting with them, that the typical task-based approach would not work with them. And then we sat down as a team, we discussed how we would be working. I showed the team the bigger picture, and how we should interact differently, how we should step up. And within a couple of days, the whole process and the communication with the client actually turned tables. They were more, I would say, open-minded when they sat down with discussions and feedback with us. And it was a happy ending because the project was successful. We got more business for Ancora. So yes, I would say ownership means a lot. In fact, in our day-to-day lives, it helps us a lot. We all need to just step up. Take the initiative, be proactive, be mindful about the project and our everyday performances. It helps.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chohan.
My pleasure.
Alfonso, you want to say something? But,
Yeah,
yeah.
I just wanted to rescue one of the terms that Michelle just mentioned in the beginning. It was like collective intelligence. That sounded pretty interesting to me because when I started thinking on how we do ownership in our daily days, I noticed that at least in the team I am working in, we allow ourselves to think out of the box, question the path that has been defined for our work with our clients. And because of this, some of my teammates and I have developed additional tools that make our work easier day by day. It is from software tools to new requirements or even new processes and trainings that make the newcomers onboarding the company a little bit easier. And there's a specific one story that I remember that occurred to me with our current client. It was from one of my teammates. 5 years ago, he created an application that allowed us to develop and test easily one of our projects. When I used the application, I thought it was awesome. So I went ahead and asked him how did he came up with the idea. I thought that maybe someone asked him for that requirement, but he was like really polite and answered, "No, it was just a quick idea that I had that I thought it could make our life easier." And it was pretty easy, and it was just a small effort I had to do. So I was surprised because after 5 years, last week, I was working in one new project and discussing with one of the principal engineers of the company the approach that we should take on developing and testing. And he came up that the application that my teammate developed 5 years ago, it's now like one of the standards that we should be using for developing and testing. So when I think about it, I think that ownership, it's also very inspiring because it allows us to know that no matter how big or little our efforts are, as long as we own them, they count and can make a difference.
Yeah, that's a good story. That's a very good story, Alfonso. Anyone can relate to that?
Right, I can go next. Which is, Alfonso, I think you're right. When we inject this sense of ownership in the team, I'm not saying that we are responsible, but if you see it, you can push the team members to actually see it. And when they see it, sometimes they inspire you too. When everybody sees it, they take opportunity to inject any new process, any new tool without asking permission. This is something that we have been doing for years in Cora, Mexico, which is don't ask permissions. If you think that this is a tool that might help the team, just do it and push it. So I remember one story as well, now that we're talking about stories, which is we were in need to define the environment in which we were going to push the code into production, like the final state. And the project that I'm working on, just a little bit of context, is from scratch. Nothing existed, so we created everything. So by the time we needed to push our first version to production, everybody got together and said, this is what is best for the client. They don't know, but we know that this is the best that we can go for, because this is a small project. We don't have users yet. So let's keep it like simple for now, because the project is still not making money. So by allowing the team to understand the mission, again, the vision, is when they can actually create these solutions that are very down to earth. That's what I would say. What do you think, Rick?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can relate?
Yeah, sure. So I completely agree with you. And as I am part of the DevOps and the cloud team engineering, I think this is the key factor of ownership within the cloud team. So because we are responsible to make sure that to maintain the application's SLA or maintain the cloud or DevOps securities or maintaining the cloud infrastructure budget cost under the budget and so and so. So also as being the cloud engineer, we also need to make sure that uh, we keep ourselves absolutely up to date with the new technologies and services. And that's what I have seen within the cloud team, and also I have seen within other teams as well. One of the example I would say is that and it's being it's I think there are so many examples, but one of the example is that in the cloud team, there are so many services that we have been using with our client, like the AWS or GCP or Azure, and and all the most of the cloud engineers knows the technologies that I don't know, and they always put their ideas during the cloud scrum or during the any discussion that we are having. They also put their decision making and all of this, right? So at the end, I think one of the thing is that to have some of the monitoring dashboard that we should have to make sure that the application that we are handling for client, it's working. And after we get those suggestions from the engineers, we implemented that. So those type of suggestions we are keep getting all the time. And also it doesn't mean that we just tell the engineers to do something and they have to do it, but it's we always try to have or give the authorities to lead those improvements and the suggestions. So yeah.
Cool. Charlie, would you like to share any story with the rest of the audience?
Yes, of course. When I started working in Encora, well, the best thing that I found out is that it's really a feeling of, you're dealing with a very good team. You're dealing with a very good people. So right now, I'm working in one of the projects of Encora, which is Sirates, as an account manager. But then, before I started going on board with that project, what I found out with Encorians here in Manila, they are very supportive. They are always ready to help the new joiners. That made them different from other companies. So regardless of the position here in Encora, they are always willing to help. They are always they make themselves available at all times. So it's not always about work. Actually, ownership comes with the attitude. Okay, with the way you deal with people, with the way with you deal with your colleagues, and that makes a really huge difference. Because once you establish a relationship, which is Manila, Philippines, and Cora is doing right now, and not here only, I believe into other countries, then I'm pretty sure whatever the task or responsibilities that you will be doing, it will be a success. So
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah, and somebody just put a quote from John Maxwell that says that the success of a vision is determined by the ownership of the leader and its people. And I think it is very true. You know, you talk about this value, it means that, if you look and hear the stories that Tim, share, um, we can say that when we build, when we live this value, everything comes better than if we don't. Having ownership means having responsibility of whatever you're doing, right? And that means that if you're responsible, and we are all adults, right? We want to be in a good position, and if we do that, then that means that we're going to actually have a good output. So thank you all for sharing, your stories. Nupur, do you wanna go?
Yeah, sure. So I was just listening to all your stories, and like some of the key behaviors that came through, which you identify with ownership. things like taking charge, solving the problem, being confident, doing the job as it's your reputation online, and it's not like just because it's a project, it's or it's just organizations thing. It's like your personal reputation is online, and then you kind of just get entrenched in the work and then work through it step by step. So that was really heartening to hear, like the kind of values which we associate with ownership in the organization is very much which most of your stories kind of demonstrated and illustrated. So it was fantastic.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Juan Carlos?
I think most of our stories have revolved around a particular single axis,
Mm.
but I think it's also important to recognize the other side of the coin, where you might come across a team, a specific person, or someone within the organization that might not resonate with this right away. I
Mm.
know I had quite my set of similar scenarios where I might feel a certain degree of commitment, a certain degree of, as we've said, ownership with a specific task, but the rest of my team doesn't feel the exact same way. Either someone from my own level of technical implementations or someone above and or below me. You might be able to teach someone how to code, how to perform a specific task, how to develop software, or how to lead initiatives, but you can't really get people to learn how to be committed. You can't really create within someone else the sense of ownership. I think that the particular key element here is that we can only lead them in terms of motivate them, in terms of having them feel the same way as we do. Not only to quote unquote force them to feel some sort of commitment, you can really force this sort of degree, this sort of attitude in terms of the sense of purpose we're having.
Yeah, and I think that ownership is a behavior, and is if we as a team members actually behave as owners, then other people will follow within the team.
Right.
But yeah, and Michelle wants to share how ownership is expected in a team, and what would you what can we expect with from somebody that is joining Encore?
Yes.
And we can elaborate on that topic. I like it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Juan Carlos, when you say that ownership cannot be taught, but you can create the foundation, like the environment, like the safe space. I take this word from Annabelle. You can create the safe space. And something that we do in my team is actually talking about how ownership is expected for newcomers. When you are arriving to our team, we have this document and this session that we call team agreements. And when we say very explicitly that we expect you to take charge of what you're supposed to do, which is if you're the QA, you need to make sure that no bug is pushed to production. Obviously, this is not only on you, but this you are like the gatekeeper. The same goes for DevOps or backend or frontend. So, excuse me, by setting this expectation, like if you see something that might break in the future, say it so that we can regroup and solve it together. But I believe this expectation and then this creation of the safe zone will allow everybody to get it immediately. And I can give you examples. I mean, Oscar on my QA team and Tino on the front end team, they are taking responsibility very quickly, and they just joined the team, and they are already making suggestions, breaking things, modifying the processes that we have. So I will say that we can set the expectation and actually ask the team members to that this sense of ownership is the way we roll in the team.
To add to what Michelle is saying, actually, I think everybody is right here that ownership is an attitude that is very intrinsic. I think, but we can nurture it to an extent if we show the team a bigger picture. If we do not micromanage them, not we don't handhold them and give them the ability to think, ask the right questions, and give them a feeling that they are responsible for the positive outcomes, give them the freedom to probably take appropriate actions. So I think we can nurture if we give the team a bigger picture, and give them the decision making capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, Shubhra, because I think very key aspect of ownership is like what Michelle you said, like giving like a safe environment to the team to perform, and also kind of letting them know that we will celebrate their successes, we will recognize their successes, and we will support them
Yeah.
through their failures as well. So it is not like if they're experimenting with something, or on some projects they didn't do well, it's not like they will be penalized. So that safe space to kind of demonstrate, like to think freely, is a very important aspect, and which I think most and that is what Encora provides as well, like that
Yes.
environment where people are free to kind of put forth their suggestions, to own their decisions, and to
Right.
work freely. Yeah.
I agree, and here I would like to add that Nupur has given us complete ownership. I work in Nupur's team, by the way, and she has
Yeah.
really given us an opportunity to grow with the team, with the account. So I'm very thankful to the leadership that that we work with
Right.
directly, indirectly. The support has always been there, which helps me grow with the team, grow with the account, and with the company. So over a period of these 5 years, I feel that I'm a part of the organization and the bigger picture. Yeah.
Really
Yes,
quickly,
Mr. Sadhu. Yes.
piggybacking on what Nupur was saying about recognizing, like, you are the expert, recognizing the expertise of each one of the team members, it's what helps to create this safe space that I was mentioning, which is, you are the designer, this is a design decision, it is expected that you make it, and we trust you and we will follow you. But this recognition of your expertise, I think it's very helpful.
Yeah.
Yep, and I think it is very important to have the trust within the team, because sometimes you feel that maybe as a manager, okay, I will take all the ownership of the work, but sometimes it's better to allow the team members to take the ownership and have the trust within them. Sometimes you won't be able to get the expected outcomes that you want to deliver to the client, but it's okay. And after failing that, we all learn that what needs to be changed or what needs to be improved within the team. So that was one of the key factor that I'm always try to put the trust within my team members.
If we think a bit, I think that ownership it's like not very common practice. When I first came to Encora, I was very surprised in my first day because as a newcomer, they told me no one can say no to your ideas or to however you want to do things. So if you think of it, this opens endless possibilities about what you want to do. And during my working here, even though my main work is as a software engineer, no one has ever told me no to participate in different initiatives for whatever I want to do, right? I can participate in the academy program, I can participate with the labs team. Whatever I want to do, I can do it as long as I own it and take responsibility from it. So I think that it is awesome to hear all of these stories about how to promote this with newcomers, because basically encouraging this and improving like that there should be no sense of fear to failure. It's like really important to make our job better.
Right. If you allow me, I have another idea. It's just like I keep listening to you, and it reminds me of stories. You were mentioning about failure in the team that I'm working on right now. Sorry, in the team that I'm working on right now, we say every time we're going to manage a situation, a mistake, that this is not actually a mistake. It's not like DevOps screw something in the database. We focus on the database that is broken, not in the person. So by addressing the actual issue, not the person, but the situation, it kind of provides another perspective on the problem. All of a sudden, everybody needs to work around how to fix the database, and then the issue with the problem is secondary. You will address that later. So I think this creates as well a sense of ownership too. Not that my DevOps has broken database. Sorry, Manny. Just an example.
Well, just to share again, ownership really needs a collaboration with the team, the opportunity to learn together, of course, because once you, if you are a leader of a team, it doesn't stop there. You have to make sure that everyone in the team also take some ownership by themselves. They must be sure that they are learning something new. And of course, they won't stop from there. So, learning is really a continuous process. That is one part of being, it's one part or positive way of having or dealing with ownership.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Shirley, actually. So I have been seeing this in my team on a day-to-day basis, actually,
Yeah.
because uh, as a newcomer, when they join the Ancora, they might not have the expertise in different technologies. And at that time, they need some motivation to learn the new technologies. And once they get the expertise of those technologies, they will have the desire to take the ownership. And going forward, they wanted to take the more and more ownership. And also, one of the other example is that uh, the cloud team also responsible to make sure that the application SLA it's up to date like 24/7. So they also provide the support during sometimes the off day. So they always take the ownership to make sure that, hey, even if I get some email alerts, or if the site goes down, I am the uh, I have take the ownership, and I am responsible to make sure that to engage the whole team and make sure that the site is up and running. So there are I think several examples that we have seen this ownership within the Ancora culture.
I think, especially in these COVID times, all of us have, stepped up and shown ownership in our own domains.
Yeah.
Yes, I
We are all
agree.
working remotely.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Thank you. Juan, you want to say something?
Yes, I think I can go, and we can probably just go ahead and start mentioning the few takeaways of this session. For me, one of the greatest successes we've pinpointed here is that we all share the same value and the same degree of commitment, not only within our own set of teams and within the whole purpose of ownership, but the very fact we're having this conversation means that we're going on the right track. If we go through our teams and we know that we need to focus on ownership, we need to enforce this, and we need to try to promote this sense of commitment within our teams, that's already a win. And that might be something that we may be overlooking within some other people. Some other ones may not be making the explicit effort of promoting their teams, promoting their empowerment, and overall the different situations they might go through. If that's the case, I don't know how popular that's going to be across the board. I feel like this session could really be helpful for them to start getting the conversation going within terms of commitment, how to overall just promote or embed the feeling of ownership within their teams. And I think that's probably going to be one of the biggest focus we might have during this next new year of Ancora.
Thank you, Juan Carlos. Rick, do you wanna share with the rest of the team what are the takeaways or things that you learned from others on this session?
Absolutely. I think when we started this session from Monday about enterprise and curiosity, and today is ownership, right? And I think there are so many qualities that we have been learning in day-to-day life, but the ownership is something that we are really looking forward to have in each and every Anchorian. And and I would say, yeah. And Subra, would you like to go next?
sorry, Rick, I was on mute. I was talking to myself.
Mhm.
Yes, I think the key points that come to my mind when I think about ownership, plain and simple, are taking the initiative, being responsible, looking at the bigger picture, avoiding hand holding as much as possible, and creating an environment where everybody feels responsible for what they do. I think these are the key takeaways that come to my mind when I think about ownership.
I
Thank
would
you.
say that I would say that my takeaway for this session, it was mind blowing for me to just see that in other countries the same thing it's happening with ownership, to learn from it, And I think that it creates a sense of community that becomes global. So I think that's awesome because I love this value, and I was very happy to participate in this panel because I think that ownership it's the value that makes you feel comfortable with your job and makes it not feel like a job but like an opportunity to do what you love, to do what you love the way you think it should be done.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Alfonso. Carly?
yeah. Very well said, Alfonso. I like the word that you used is of course you have to make it every day. You have to consider that you must learn something new every day. So I think it every day is a learning period. Try to embrace everything that you are encountering or on your daily work within Cora, and for sure, you won't have any problem at all.
Oh, okay. I'm next. So my takeaway will be like an open question. How do we take ourselves, each other in the team, to this state of ownership? If you see it, how can you help others to actually see it too? And how to create this space in which everybody can take responsibility in a safe way. That's my takeaway. How to create this environment.
Cool. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I think for me the takeaway is like more of a trust, and please trust your team first of all. Uh, Let them take their own decision, and once you see the outcomes of that decision, uh, we all realize that what should be the next, and those type of ownership will be more become powerful on day by day.
Nupur,
Thanks, Rick.
can you
Yes, sure.
share?
Yes, sure. Thanks, Rick. So, for me, I think the sheer passion with which each of you is, talking about your stories and, your engagement with your work is a very good demonstration of, how this value of ownership is like, it's global across all our offices and across all our people. So, just to be an Encorian, it means that we take ownership of whatever we do. So this was fantastic because the way all of you just got involved and the passion with which you spoke, it was fantastic. Roberto?
Yeah, well, I would like to thank you all for participating and sharing your stories. Um, what one of the things that I take from the session is what Alfonso said is that it is amazing to learn that we are living this value, whatever geography we are, and what means to us. And I, one of the things that I can say is that when we hire people, when we bring people to the team, we should be a role model to build, to live this value. And as all of you have been saying, you know, having ownership means a lot. Means being mature. Means being collaborating with other people, and that requires bravery to do that, right? And I think we are all very brave, in this company. So let's keep living this value and giving the opportunity to others to live it. I'm sure we're going to get very far, working as a team, um, and living our values, which defines, as Nupur say at the beginning, our culture. And culture is, one of the most important things at Encora, and we should take care of it. How? Living our values and being our role model to the rest of the team. Um, well, we have tomorrow, um, panels for diversity and excellence. I really encourage, the viewers and the rest of the company to watch to these sessions. It is very pleasant to see people from everywhere in the world, sharing their stories and talking about their, opinions and whatever each value means to them. It is amazing to work in a company where we can learn from each other and whatever we are. So the video will be available shortly for the rest of the team. And I don't know if you want to say a last word, Nupur. Thank you all. It was very pleasant for me.
Yeah, thank you all. I think it was wonderful, listening to all of you, and see you on the other panel. Thanks.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a
Bye bye.
great